if we're all ready, hopefully, I will start sharing the board. It's a big one. I can see somebody's already there. But we are going step by step. So whatever you would see on my screen is the area in which we are spending our time. Don't spoil it for yourself going to see all the board, because it's nice to discover it as we move around. Do you see my screen now?
Yeah.
So, the first step is definitely identify your character. So we put a few post-it around each little monster in here. So in the one, and Freddie, you have to be my guinea pig. So I hope you chose one already. But just put your name if you don't want to, miss it for the future and you want to remember who you are in the post-it right below the character. So we know that one is taken, because otherwise maybe two people are looking for the same little monster. And I think there's enough for everybody, but if you see that somebody has put their name already there, move to another one. They're all cute anyway. So this way, whenever you need to write something, you just grab one of the post-it around your little monster, or duplicate it. You can also create a copy, and you will be able to track your journey because you all be using the same color. And if you encounter any technical problem, we are all very proficient in Miro, so we can help you.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yes. So, just remember your color, make sure you know which one it is. Don't use everyone's as post-it, because otherwise you're going to mess with their goals and it's not fair. But now that you have identified your character, what I'll ask you to do, and of course you can ask question or share, is think of a goal that you'd like to work in 2023. It could be any kind of goal, personal, professional, something related to your growth, money, health, whatever you think is important for you. And maybe it's a goal that looks a little bit ambitious, so you want to know how to make it happen because you're afraid that otherwise, like New Year's resolution, in a few weeks from now, I'll just let it go. Of course, it should be a goal that you feel a little bit comfortable sharing with us. So if it's super personal, maybe don't use that one, but use another one just to learn how it goes. And then we could use the same system for something that is a little bit more personal and private. And of course, I'm going to ask Josh or Freddie or anyone to share their goals.
Are we writing our goals down?
So I thought it's just one goal. Wait.
I think goals collective.
First, think of your goal. And then when you're there, we can move to the next step. So the first step was choosing your character. This is you. Okay, so now I would move, if we all agree that we more or less have a goal in mind, to the next step. Okay. So whenever you're going to identify your character, just move in this area here and write your goal using one of your post-it. You can see I shared many of these different sets of post-its so that wherever you are in the board, you can find your character and use one of those. And of course, we're going to read because we're very curious creature. Wow, so somebody is getting married? Yes.
Get married.
Very important goal. I hope it will help you. We already have somebody. At which stage are we now?
Well, he was hoping that today on this call.
I mean, we don't put any goal. Okay, so I see some goals being populated. Be more ambitious with my thinking. Interesting. I will give us a timer when we're working so that in 2 minutes for writing your goal should be okay. Don't worry about getting it super right, because we're going through a process also for honing your goal. But at least you should have an idea of the area you'd like to work on. in this specific webinar we're doing. The goal might change a little bit during our hour together. But it should be something as a starting point that you feel like you really want to work. Wow, Freddie's even drawing things. Nice. Oh, Freddie.
Sneezing.
Yeah, nobody can do that. So, but I appreciate that Freddie is like making it look a little bit nicer, adding some art to what we're doing. Okay. So if you have any other question about this part, or was it easy for you to summarize your goal in a post-it? Because sometimes that's a first self-awareness check point, like, am I able to even put my goal in a sentence, in a short sentence? If not, it might be that the goal is not clear enough in your mind. And so, yeah, you should be able to say it in no more than how many words? Let's ask Leila, our data scientist, which is a good amount of words you might need to after your goal. No more than 10. Okay. So now that you have your goal, I'm going to ask you to do something else. So remember what you wrote. You can even copy it and take it along with you, duplicate it. Once you have your goal clear in your mind, the next thing that you should do is asking yourself why. And this is a very important step that we usually don't do when we are aware of, I need to set a goal, I need to, think of all the different steps. But this is something that it should be like a pre-work. I have my goal in mind, but I should ask myself, why is that goal important to me? And sometimes asking yourself why once is not enough. Keep asking yourself why. So I'm going to use Freddie again. I know this is not.
Oh no, careful. Why am I getting married?
I assume, Freddie, that you're quite confident this goal is important for you and you're committed and everything. But if I were to ask you, why this goal? Why is this important? What would you say?
Are you asking me, Joya?
Yes, because I decided that you are our little guinea pig, but I can also move to other people if you think
I
it's
can.
going to be recorded. So I don't know if your partner would want to know.
I've written my first why is because I want to get married. The second why is because I want to celebrate my love. I'm not sure about my third why. I'll have to have think about it. Any suggestions?
Because the tax breaks on being married are celebrate your love, but also does it have to be a depth of that why, or can it be multiple types of why?
You could go either way, but another thing that might happen when you go through the steps, then you at one point you arrive to like a full stop, and it can also happen after a couple of whys. So the moment Freddie says, because I want to celebrate my love, but that to me feels like the ultimate reason, you can definitely stop there. But if you have the feeling you might go a little bit deeper, just keep with the whys until you find the reason that motivates you the most. The one that really, in a sense, gives depth to that goal. So it's not a superficial goal. I don't think, of course, not everything can be like a marriage or something that like life-changing. Even if your goal is a little bit more practical, it would help to anchor it to something that comes from your emotion, your desires, something that is a little bit more ideal. It's kind of giving roots to your goal and make it a little bit deeper. But it doesn't necessarily has to be covered in 5 different whys. If you feel at one point that you can stop, just stop there.
Do we use the because boxes?
I am just copying over the Y from the previous.
You can-
Why? Okay.
If you see that one box is too cramped, you can move to the next one. I think it's nice to have some of this framework in front of you, but if you prefer to scribble down on a page, it's definitely doable. We thought it's nice to have like a collective experience, and this is why we use the mirror board, and also because sometimes you can get inspiration, not on the goal, but on the way people are going through the process.
Oh, I see it happening.
Yeah, and don't discount this. There's a big issue of accountability, because when you share your goals with other people, even in a friendly setting like this one, it makes it more real.
I have a super dramatic rooftop.
You won't have to
The better you want it to. Then if you want to share the special why, you can do it in the chat, you can just, have a conversation with us, but if you found out why you're particularly proud of, just flaunt it. I mean, it's hard to beat Freddy's why, but you can try. Adam, what's your why? What's your secret why?
I think I'm getting there.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm 3 layers deep right now.
All right, I'm done.
Wow.
Wow. I'm gonna help you with something. I'm gonna read everybody.
I don't know, I think I've reached the white.
Exactly, but this can totally happen. We use 5 years sometimes in pace to go deeper, but it really depends on the goal and how aware you are, the reason behind this. Maybe for you it's very easy to get to that stage, but sometimes it could be useful. Because sometimes, and we were having this conversation with Freddie yesterday in preparation of the workshop, sometimes you might find out that that goal, specific goal, is not really related to anything important for you. Maybe you can change the goal, because it's really hard to force yourself to get something that doesn't really motivate you and it's not related to your own personal values. So if that's the case, if this step is like undoable for you, maybe it's because it's not the right goal to spend your energy on. So it's a nice check to have instead of going straight to timelines and things like that. Use it wisely. You have still 39 seconds to go to get to your why. But of course, now that you know how it works, you can keep doing it. You can think about it, maybe tomorrow, go back to the board and have a second go. Now you know how to do it. And you can also read everyone's answer. It can be an inspiration for you too. All right, so we move to the next step. You can use this is very like minimalistic arrow to move from one place to the other. So now that you understood your why, ask yourself if the goal that you found in the first place is the only way to get there. This is the moment you can reframe your goal a little bit. And we had an example yesterday. It's not going to be your case. Freddie, of course, because you're getting married, there is no other goal for you. But but actually, if something would occur and you could not get married, of course, we're touching wood here. Knowing that the real reason for you is that you want to celebrate your love, you could think about the goals that will let you experience that feeling, even if it's not technically the wedding, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So having a clear reason why you want that goal to be accomplished could also give you a plan B in case something happens beyond your control and you have to renounce that goal. That might make you feel like defeated, but if you have a different option that might still take you to that why, to that reason, you might save the day. We had an example yesterday with Freddie. Freddie said, what if my goal is to lose weight? And I start asking myself why. And I get to a point where I realize I want to feel good with the way I look, with my image. So even if I don't, for some reason, maybe some health reason, I don't manage to lose weight, maybe there's other ways that I can feel good with my image and with myself. Maybe I will change my style, maybe I will, I don't know, start saying nice things to me in front of the mirror and we'll get the feeling of self-appreciation. So this is a way for us to understand that there are many different ways and many different goals to get to what we're actually looking for. So this is your chance to either tweak your goal a little bit or have a plan B goal in case you think that goal A depends on so many external factors that you're not 100% sure that's going to happen. Make sure you have an alternative there. So you will still feel at the end of the year that you accomplished something meaningful for you. Wow, look at Freddie. Okay, if you don't know how to do it, look at what Freddie just did.
I mean, I have to say I'm leaning towards the idea of buying a billboard. I think that's a much more productive way of celebrating my love.
Yeah, because by starting from your why, you can think of so many other ways to get there. I don't know, let's ask Josh, what's your why?
I'm still working on the last ones.
You had your song time.
No, but I didn't hear the song from the end. It's
Yeah, exactly. So if you need inspiration, you can copy Freddie's ideas. And again, you maybe don't even have to change your goal, but doesn't it make you feel good knowing that there's not just one way for you to be happy at the end of the year? There are many different ways or alleys you might go by and still get the feeling of, yes, I accomplished something meaningful. Something that will still honor your why, even if it's a different goal. Or maybe you're so happy with your goal that you're going to keep it, but now you know that all the roads leads to Rome or something like that. Leila, tell us an alternate goal that you found through this exercise.
I expanded my goal. I went from practicing music to get more creative.
Okay, because you say if for some reason, I don't know, I'm unable to do something musically wise, there's other ways for me to be creative.
Unlimited
Pathways. That's a good way of doing it, because what if you find yourself in a situation where you can't make noise at all, a very quiet setting like this, that might be some other way. Okay, great. Josh, I'm going to move on, but you can still be there. Okay, the next step is take the goal that you have now and check whether it is SMART. And I'm going to try, it's an acronym. So you should be able to understand what you want to accomplish in a specific way. So be as specific as you can. And how do you know if you're specific? Well, if you're telling your goal to somebody else, that person should be able to picture the goal in his or her mind. So if it's too generic, they won't be able to. But also measurable. Give yourself a time frame for when your goal will be accomplished. And since we are working for 2023, it should be from now up until maximum the end of the year. If you think that it will take longer, maybe divide your goal in a different size so that it's doable within the end of the year. Because sometimes if the goal is too ambitious, like I want to become a billionaire, then there's so many different steps you have to take that it's going to be too hard for you and you give up. But if you say, I want to have like 20K more in the bank by the end of the year, Maybe that's
Pocket change.
okay. Well, you know your benchmark here. But also make it attainable. So don't force yourself to do something that is so far from your like everyday experience that it's already like boycotting yourself. So if you never even run for a mile, don't say I want to run 3 marathons by the end of the year, because you know that it's not really realistic. And sometimes we give ourselves unrealistic goals because we want to have permission to fail. So we just have in a different situation. It has to be relevant. Is this goal important for your life and your vision for your life? Or is it just because everybody else is doing it and it's trendy? I love Freddie's answer. Freddie, you're just getting married because everybody else is getting married. We know that. You're just following the trend. And then, when is this goal going to be accomplished? So when we say measurable, there might be different variable you use to measure it, like it could be money, it could be an amount of things you want to have, but you also need a deadline.
Do we really need a deadline though? Because I don't want to improve myself for only 1 year. I want to improve myself
Yes.
for the rest of my life.
In this case, yes, you can still say by the end of the year, I need to be able to see that there was some progress, because otherwise you never had like a change. So we know that you might continue with this goal over and over, but it has to be like my 2023 is the year in which I do this. And I want to be able by the end of the year to see how measurable this progress has been, even if I want to keep carry on in the next years.
This is the issue that I have with New Year's resolutions. I don't do them. So I think.
Do you think that 1 year is not enough for you to see that some of these goals have been accomplished already?
No, it is. I mean, it's enough for progress, certainly. So is a week.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to say something like a little bit more consistent, maybe from now to December, it's enough time to appreciate the change. And by the end of the year, okay. And having a deadline, as you might have learned working, it's really important. Especially if you're a perfectionist, you might think, oh, I will never accomplish this, so ambitious. But at the same time, knowing that you have this checkpoint by December or wherever you want to set your deadline will help you keep tracks of your progresses. So give yourself deadlines. It can be generic, like end of the year, it can be a specific date. Maybe in your case, Freddie, you will have a date by which this goal will be accomplished or not. I don't know if you know it already, or maybe you have a month and you know that your wedding is going to happen there, but it helps. And we will see why it helps. So trust me on that. So you might have to rephrase your goal in order to make it smart. Like, no, I want to read more books by December. I want to read 57 books. No, 30 books. Yeah, it's not impossible for her. So I want to read 30 books by the end of the year. That's a smart goal. I want to read more. It's not a smart goal because you can't measure it. You will never know if you manage or not because there is nothing specific there. And I see people already following the arrow. This is where you should put your little post-it with your deadline. In some cases, as you can see, and I think this is ready, we have a specific date or a specific week.
Everyone get in your calendars.
So don't go anywhere because this is when Fred is getting married. We expect to be all invited, right? So if in your case could be end of the year, or if you think that that's the time when you're super busy, you can decide like by November, I'm gonna do my final check. But it's nice to see it in a calendar because it's like, oh, okay, I need to be aware that time is limited. And if you don't see the deadline coming, you might just, continue like. So just think that this is your goal for 2023 and position your deadline whenever it makes sense. For some people, like Freddie, it's very easy to do it. For others, more like inspirational. How is it going? Where are you, Adam?
I actually did this at the start of the year.
Oh, nice.
That was cool.
Maybe you should do it. It's too late now.
Which mountain?
Which one do you want?
Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis. Well, also Donia. One of those close. Like, yeah.
Thinking snow.
Slightly more.
So, it's more fun than, yeah.
It's a nice one, but it's.
We have to check the times for the lights. November the time to see.
Somewhere at the end of the year.
We want you to miss that one by being like, ah, they're gone. They don't come out then. Professor, which festival are you going to?
Wow, I love all
I'm trying to go
these
to one in
things.
Belgium.
Who wants to see the northern lights?
I don't know.
Oh, these are all yours.
Yeah, color code them, please.
Yeah, your own colour, you'll give them a colour.
You think you're right?
Pretty certain.
No, but it's a different, it's a different shade of yellow. Okay, that's nice. And I see a blue one here. It's probably Layla, right?
It says
Here.
because I still maintain
6 month appraisal for Josh, I assume for the terminologies. Very good. So having a deadline is super important for accountability, for yourself, for understanding that we will get to the end of the year in 0 time, like every year, right? So it's nice to see it. But also for another reason, which is, especially if your goal is ambitious and has like, you know, a lot of things to accomplish in order to get there, it might help having other milestones through the year that will get you there. So if accomplishing your goal is 100%, ask yourself, what is 20%? What does it look like towards my goal? What is like 40 or 50%? So how will I know that I reached like half of my goal? And if you make sure that your goal was smart, so measurable, this should be doable.
Let's see if I have that.
Maybe not all goals require many milestones, but it will make your life easier because instead of going from 0 to 100, you have like in between checkpoints. So imagine it's really like you're going up a mountain, right? Usually you don't just go in one single movement. You have like different stations. And that will help you reconsider, see if you're on time, if you have all the resources that you need. If it's raining, maybe you have to stop a little bit. But there is still this idea of progress. So wherever you are, you should be able to know which percentage of your goal has been accomplished up to that moment. And you can also reverse engineer this. You start from 100 and you go backwards. So if I want to be there by November, well, I need to have accomplished by September, by the summer, by 1 month from now, by tomorrow. And you immediately have things to do. Okay. And as you can see, there's another mountain there, which is 2020.
That's what Layla specifically
Exactly, it's just you. Which means that sometimes your goal is not completely over by the end of the year, but you still have your own peak. Which is important. Peaks are very important for our self-esteem. So you need to know that you conquered that mountain. And that is another mountain, but at least rest there for a moment and enjoy the view. It's a metaphor. So I understand it's not easy to do everything, like all this milestone in one section, but at least you know that could be very useful. And if you can set a calendar specifically for your goal, could be a Google calendar, could be like a proper real calendar in 3D, it would be nice to start populating it with your milestones, your percentages, your ideas, your plan Bs, so that it really comes to life. And every time you glance at your calendar, you can see something that reminds you of your goal. Any shares? Any revelation? Feel free to say.
Other than the wedding itself, I'm most excited for buying a suit.
Yes.
That's going to be a fun experience. I like a good suit.
I think what makes your goal stand out, it's one of the goals that you can't really, constantly delay. Once you decided, you know that you have to be committed and you have a proper deadline. But we can all take a page from this book. So even if your goal is not as like yes or no, black or white, like on wedding day, you can still treat it in the same way. You're just marrying your goal. Music as you go through you conquer your personal mountain. And again, you can still think about it. Maybe find a different percentage. Maybe you want to go 25%, 50%, 75, 100. It really depends on what is.
So crazy random one. What if he doesn't get married? Like, what's he gonna do next?
Party, or maybe some kind of symbolic ceremony.
Yeah. It's shotgun wedding.
And if you have any question or something you want to share, please feel free to do it. And of course, you can use the system with many different goals, but my personal suggestion is, if you have a very ambitious goal, something that you think will occupy most of the year, don't add too many others, because otherwise you only have limited time and energy. So don't go for 3 different main goals, because then you would just amp your percentage of failure, and you don't really want to feel like that. So if you accomplish your goal earlier, you can still add another one, maybe in the second half of the year. But let's see first if you get there, because life sometimes is surprising, and new things might happen that will have you shift your goal a little bit. So especially time-wise, always set up some buffer time. Saying this is going to happen by September, maybe push your deadline to October, so you don't really get there with this feeling of being rushed into your final leg of the goal. And this was my son. How that is
What's your milestone?
I'm not working on my own goal because I need I think it's been vegan, but it's already accomplished. I just need to keep it. So my sense is cooking vegan things instead of just buying them and then I don't know, throwing a party on it. Very well. So if you've been working up to this point, you can already see how your goal has become more actionable, more real for you. But there is another thing that it's very often left from the conversation, which is, in my opinion, super important. And that part is celebration. So you might think that just by accomplishing your goal, you already be happy for that. But why don't we up this a notch and add something that you will buy for yourself, give yourself, allow yourself to do the moment your goal will be accomplished, like an extra motivation. So it would be the happiness of having accomplished your goal, but also maybe a special gift for yourself. Be something that you like, be an experience, anything you want. Just make it even better. This is like the cherry on top. This way, it's like you're tying the accomplishment of your goal no matter how hard it is, to something that you really want and that will make you feel like you're taking care of yourself, you're pampering yourself. In those rainy days, it can be like an extra reason to enjoy your celebration. And it's also a way for you to give yourself a pat on your shoulder and say, good job, I managed, and so I deserve a little something. And it can be related with your goal to your goal or not. Maybe in the case of Leila, let's say she started playing music, it can be, I'm going to buy myself a banjo. I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, I must the violin, then I wanted the banjo.
It's enough. Or I'm going to buy a ticket for a concert, somebody that I really would like, is a, we're a pop musician, colleague. So think of your prize. You don't really necessarily have to share it, but you need to have it. And possibly in your calendar or wherever, somewhere at home, just post a picture of your celebratory prize somewhere you see it every day. It will give you that extra kick of motivation. Like, yeah, I'm doing it for myself, for my reasons, but also because I want an extra special thing.
Swanky at the time.
What is your special celebratory gift for yourself, Josh?
You asking me? Swanky dinner.
Swanky dinner. Where? Do you have
No.
a place in mind?
No, because by the time it gets to that, there'll be something that's new and upbeat.
Oh, yeah. Maybe vegan place?
Maybe. No, it'll probably be vegan one.
Okay, so now that you have your special prize in mind, we're gonna use this. It's not ready yet. It's severed, so I don't know if it's a good idea. So what I would like to do in here, always in your post-it or however you're gonna do it, is think of something you might say to yourself as you pretend you're your best friend. Your best friend comes to you and say, oh, I'm giving up, it's impossible. And you really want to motivate them to not give up because you think that they can. So this is where you should write your motivational phrase for yourself to always keep it there. Something that you might think on a day where you're about to give up, and that will still give you the strength and energy to keep going. It's really like you're climbing a mountain, and at one point it's like, no, it's too difficult, I'm tired, I'm gonna stop here. But then you stay yourself, writing this positive affirmation or mantra. And of course, I expect this to be a very nice collection of motivational phrases that we can all use. But there will be one that you really crafted for yourself. Just like how big the hand is compared to the post-it, you can enlarge your post-it. But this is you giving yourself a helping hand or a high five. So this is why we're using this image. So this, your prize and this motivation works together. But the prize is something that you will get at the end of the journey. This is something that will help you keep on track. So they both work for helping you accomplish the goal. So we move on.
I'm only someone's taking the ring with them.
No. Okay. This final part we have here is for you to start reflecting on how to divide your goal in main steps. You don't have to do everything right now, but just know that now that you have your final goal, you have your main milestone, it's not enough. You need to be able to divide every milestone in minor steps. And think very broad, because there are so many different components of reaching a goal. So think of logistics. What do you need to do? In very practical terms. Maybe you need a special place. Maybe you need to set a time every week in your calendar for something. Maybe you need specific tools or knowledge. Maybe you need to talk to someone, set an appointment. Then there is funds. Some of your goals will require funds. I'm looking at you, Fred.
So it's like, how much is this wedding costing, Fred?
Exactly.
You can put a number on there?
But there's
Hannah?
it's not necessarily just the money that you're going to put in there. Maybe you can also ask for money. Or maybe there are other ways like bartering that you can get something. Maybe sponsorship. Freddie, have you thought about that? Is anybody willing to sponsor part of your wedding? That's a way to get funds.
Probably a better influencer. He's going to sell his phone calls all over everything.
Then is research. Other information you don't have at the moment, but you can look up on Google, at your local library, asking an expert. Is there any kind of research you need to do in order to accomplish your goal? And then there's creativity. So it's every way you could accomplish your goal by doing something a little bit different. Think as Freddie probably was, thinking outside the box. And in emotional, I would put any kind of support. Could be self-care, so the way you support yourself, but also the people around you. Because very rarely you'll be able to accomplish a goal without anyone else giving you some kind of support. And sometimes it's emotional support. It's a friend who's there for you. Or maybe somebody you can share part of the goal with. Maybe if you want to go running or go to the gym, having an emotional support, somebody that's coming with you, it's definitely something that might help.
Creative one?
Creative is everything you can think of or any kind of creative outputs you need for your goal. So maybe if you want to write a book, of course, creative is all the ideas that you're going to put in the book, everything you can think of. And in other cases, it could be just like a creative support of what you want to accomplish or different ways of getting there. Maybe, I don't know, in the case of Freddie, maybe you need to write vows. I don't know if it's something that you do in the UK, so that's a creative part. So you need inspiration for that. It's not something that you want to pay somebody else to do. Right? Right. Or AI, in the worst case, it can do that for you. So this part is a little bit longer, so I don't expect everyone to finish as we're doing the webinar, but go back to this because you will see that your goal is becoming very real with a lot of little things you can do to get to the top of the mountain. So the last thing I would like you to do is pick anything you put in the scheme over here, just one, and split it into at least 3 mini steps. And commit to do at least one, not even saying all 3 of them, by the end of next week. And it's going to stay here forever. So in a week from now, I'm going to call you all out in the network to see if you accomplish that. This will give you a sense of progress. Look, in 1 week, I'm closer to my goal than I was. And you just keep going without losing track of the big picture, which is the mountain. But these are all the single steps that we take there. So each and every one counts. Even if it's just making a phone call, you're getting closer to your goal. And you wouldn't if you didn't do that many steps. This is how you learn how to walk. And look at you now, you can go anywhere. But as a baby, there were really tiny steps. Still very relevant. They brought you here. And as you can see, the end is the beginning. So you can start this cycle again. But just to go through everything and see how you started from a very maybe broad generic goal you weren't totally connected with. And now you don't only have your own specific SMART goal, but you have also a series of steps and support that you can use to make reaching the top actually workable. And this is the end of you not accomplishing your New Year's resolution. But now you have a system in place and also accountability because it's written here. And every time you can come into the community and share your journey. and you know that we'll all be cheering for you, right? Yes. Any final thought or question before we wrap it up? Are you committed? Are you enthused about your goal now? You wanna shout it through the roofs?
I'm so ready. You're excited about it. Yeah, should we get back to her? Yeah. I'll do that.
So, thank you so much for being on this journey. The recording, because I knew there were people that wanted to see it but couldn't make it at this time, so we will share the recording in the network tomorrow in the afternoon. It will be there. The middle board will stay open, so you can access it anytime and keep working on it, or you can just make a copy of it and work on your own goal without having to share it with everyone, but at least it stays there for everyone. I hope it was fun. I hope you got some ideas. I hope that now you have a nice goal that you want to accomplish by the end of the year that will make you feel like super passionate about. Thank you so much. If you have any question, of course, feel free to ask. Tomorrow, we will publish this recording and you can still write things in the comment section. Maybe, I don't know, share your special prize or whatever you feel that it's nice to share with the community. Any final thoughts?
Not from me.
Thanks, Joya.
And accomplish that goal.
Thank you, Joya. That was super useful. Really. Thank you so much.